get off.
Good.
This is the peanut gallery.
The peanut gallery. That's right.
Yes, I did.
Welcome to Contemporary Issues Adult Sunday School class. Nice to have everybody here just before Christmas. I'm Steve, and I want to welcome anybody that's a first-time visitor, and so nice to have you with us. And we are going to talk today about Christmas a little. Imagine that. So the sermon was on Joseph today, and good thoughts on Joseph and his courage in not following the expectations of his time and his situation. And so we'll talk a little bit about Mary today too, and take a look at the video of the cave where Jesus was born, they believe, and just a very short video, and talk about some of our own Christmas traditions. I'd like for you all to share some of what you do. So
Sunday, there's
no class next Sunday. There's a 9 a.m. service, and then they close up shop here real quick afterwards. So, but before we talk about Christmas, our usual announcement, Zoomers, nice to have you here. And please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen when you're not speaking. And we are recording this for future playback. And we are going to talk about other announcements, things too. Anybody have other announcements they would like to do? Okay, then we will talk about things in the news for a few minutes. There was so much going on this week. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about that. And my friend Peter's going to share with us a little bit about Israel also. So come on over, Peter.
Thank you.
Tell us, have you been there lately?
Not lately,
Okay.
but I've been there. Well, hi, friends. It's great to see you. I communicated with our good friend Steve Vasca earlier this week, asking for 3 minutes. So I'll try to keep my 3 minutes to 3 minutes because I'm excited to hear this presentation today. I have the privilege of being friends with Orthodox Jews who live in the West Bank. I'm in regular touch with them weekly, back and forth by email primarily. I've known them for over 30 years. They're wonderful people. They live in a village called Tekoa, Tekoa, which for those of you who visited that area, it's not far from Bethlehem. You know, Bethlehem's on the edge of the West Bank, as you know. It's not far from Bethlehem. Our friends there live in one of 69 Jewish settlements in the West Bank, some of which analysts would say are illegal. Nonetheless, they're there, and many Jewish people, good Jewish people, live there. My friends, one of my friends who's there, they have an extended family, is a rabbi. These are peace-loving people who wouldn't hurt a fly and who certainly would not hurt a Palestinian or Muslim person. But they are hoping that those of us in this world, Christian and otherwise, can support Israel as an entity on behalf of Jewish people generally for their future, so they can survive. They are worried that as an entity, they may not survive in the future. It touches my heart because, as you folks know, I have the privilege of working in the human rights area. I feel it's a human right. Of course, I support Palestinians, but of course, I support Israelis. I support Muslims. I support Jews. I support Christians, as I know most of you folks, all of you folks do. I support humanity. So I hope that we can continue to support our friends who are Jewish, who are under extreme duress. The latest tragedy in Australia at Bondi Beach, where 15 Jews were murdered, has caused, as you can guess, my friends in the West Bank, great trauma, wondering if they might be next by some deranged madman or madwoman. So, my friends, please join me in what A.I. Young, a gentleman I've recently met from Kansas City, an African-American activist, who uses music as his mode to engage people cross-culturally, says, let's be in radical collaboration with our colleagues, including our Jewish colleagues. Thank you.
Yes, that was a very sad thing in Australia too. Yes. Okay. Well, I want to mention just a few other things, see if you had a comment on things in the news. One of the positive things was 9 pharmaceutical companies have agreed to reduce their prices in America to equal that of the rest of the world, where costs are much lower. And many people are giving Trump the credit for that because he used the threat of tariffs to get those pharmaceutical companies to agree to that deal. So positive to him for that. The other thing, 2 things I thought were interesting, if you want to say anything, jump in here. Marijuana being rescheduled as a less dangerous drug by Trump. Trump said that he was encouraged to do that by friends of his who wanted more marijuana, medical marijuana research for the positive effects that it can be done. So interesting there. That would not be considered a very conservative Republican move to reduce marijuana on the dangerous schedule, they call it. And then the third one I thought was interesting was the decision to gender care for minors, that the administration decided to withdraw any federal funding and Medicare for hospitals who provide hormone or other gender care treatment for minors. And very interesting, we could have a whole class on that, positive and negatives on that. Should children be allowed to change their gender until they are of age to realize the magnitude of what that does to their lives? But on the other hand, there are teenagers who are suicidal, who need that and can be guided in that by their parents and their doctors, and that would be one of the liberal rationales for allowing that and not punishing hospitals and doctors to do that.
So is
What do
that
you
going
think?
to have anything that's by state,
Yes,
Are we going to be able to provide that care in Colorado, even though the federal government's coming and saying,
I don't know. The thought is that the hospitals would not be reimbursed at all for Medicare, Medicaid to do that, and so
order just for that. For everything.
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah.
Draws all their Medicare funding if they perform it, even if they're not, even funding for things that are not related. That's how I heard it.
That could be if they do. If they do anything with gender care, they'll be completely cut off from Medicare and Medicaid, which makes up to 50% of the revenue for hospitals. Jeff and then Vicky. Jeff, there's a microphone right there on the counter.
Hello?
Yes, you got it.
Hello. I spoke earlier this year about libraries. And one of the things I mentioned was that the funding for a group called the IMLS was cut and the IMLS was going to be eliminated. And 2 weeks ago, IMLS was reinstated.
Oh.
And what that means is that there's going to be money flowing from the federal government to the states. Most of the states use IMLS funding for libraries for rural communities. So that was the group that was going to get hit the worst. And I just thought I'd share that that has been changed. And I think it's good news for rural America and libraries.
Thank you. Hadn't heard that, Jeff. Yeah. Things change. There's so much in the news every day. And some of it doesn't happen and some of it does happen and continues. And it's just an incredible time to live. Yes, it is. Okay, any other thoughts? Oh, yes, Vicky, go ahead and Ron, and then we'll start into our Christmas presentation.
Why is it a government issue?
Why is gender care a government issue?
Is it a government issue?
Health issue.
Do you think it should be just a medical issue between a doctor and his patients?
But then I guess I guess that you would be expected to pay completely for a procedure or whatever they needed. I just don't understand why that is a government issue.
Well, healthcare is so much
One of the arguments.
dependent on government or not, when it was drawn this way. So I think that's my answer. The government, I mean,
So they're showing me what.
the people who use healthcare are so often dependent on part of the government, reimbursement, so I think that's.
Absolutely, and so are the hospitals. Yes.
Yeah, my
Ellen.
daughter works at Children's Hospital, and she said that at Children's Hospital, they no longer do the surgery for those people under 18 because staff left. They wouldn't do it.
Some staff wouldn't do it, yes.
The staff wouldn't do it, and also, I think that, even if you pay for it yourself, they're not going to support the hospital, allow it at all.
It's a controversial thing.
I think that's how they meant it.
Yeah, for minors especially, not just gender and transgender, but for minors,
Right.
the
And
impact
that's
on
what
their
they do.
lives.
It's for minors at the
Mhm.
hospitals.
Yeah,
They will do it.
a lot of question on that. Okay, Ron, and then we'll go to Christmas.
Jack Smith's private testimony to the congressional group, presenting again incontrovertible evidence, overpowering evidence of Trump's efforts to steal the election and the stealing of secret documents and storing them. Incontrovertible. In fact, they even released another tape with Trump talking to a high official in the Georgia legislature, saying you can call a session and just throw out
Oh, okay.
what's
Oh,
happening.
this is news this week that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did it get into the public or was it behind closed
it
doors?
was behind closed doors, and Jack wanted to do
Wanted
it.
it public. Could they can any of that testimony get leaked?
Maybe some, they're talking.
Because that's just absolutely essential that it become out in the open.
Yeah.
Okay,
about
Christmas.
another thing going on.
Yeah, it's not redacted.
There's hardly enough room in the media to cover everything going on. Okay, Christmas. Let me start off with just a few little funny memes about Christmas. This one has it says, if there'd been 3 wise women instead of wise men, they would have brought diapers, formula, and casseroles. And Mary says, perfect, much better. And this one, Joseph says, don't be mad, Mary. I said I was sorry. I should have made reservations. Talk to me, Mary. Mary, how silent night began. That's the silent night. This one has a stocking stuffer, a stocking saying, I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than being stuffed with a candy and hung on a mantle. And what do you call that? It says, oh, there's worse things than just being hung on a mantle. Yada knows that. This one's kind of Christmas related. The baby says, please, God, don't let me see any more sales because you know I'm weak. Christmas sales.
Yeah.
This one says, the last thing a Christmas ornament sees before. And those of us who had cats know that is true. And those of us who had dogs, Christmas cookies? No, I haven't seen any Christmas cookies. Not my fault. And this one, bells on Bob's tail ring. You ever wondered what that's referring to? Must have been a dog named Bob. And if you had a Cabbage Patch doll in 1983, your mom bought someone at Kmart for that.
They hit one time.
You hit one?
I hit one back in the plants, in between the plants, went home, because I don't remember why I went home, I had to come back and get it, so I was there.
For that craze, yeah. And this one, the child says, wow, a drum. And Santa says, yes, your parents were on my naughty list. And the last one here has Santa playing passport with the reindeer, and the reindeers say, "Why are you stalling, Santa? Get started on this game." And Santa's word is venison. Yes. Oh,
It's a lot of work to find those.
oh, they're all over the area. It's easy. Okay, so just wanted to start off with a little bit about the first Christmas. So we had a little reference there to the first Christmas, but let's take a look at a quick video of the actual cave where Jesus is believed to have been born. And when Vicki and I were there, we've been there twice. The guide said it was really from the very first confirmed by people from the very earliest time that this was the place that Jesus was born. So as best they can determine, it was from that time. And so we'll show you here. Let me try and hit my share screen again and just do a little video here. And it is, the cave is covered over with a large church built right over the cave, as you probably know, that they did all the holy sites. They didn't leave them pristine and in primitive condition, which a lot of us would wish they had. They built gaudy churches over every holy site, including this one, and have silver, gold chandeliers and tapestries and things over these sites. And this just gives you an idea of what it looks like today. Oh, wait just a second. Let me go back.
Yeah, that's fine.
With me for just a minute. You should be able to hear this also.
Just in time for the holidays, we have decided to travel to the place where it all began. It is Christmas, one of the holiest times of year for Christians, and so we came here to Bethlehem in Palestine, to the very spot where Jesus was born. In fact, legend has it the Church of the Nativity behind me right here stands atop the very place where the manger once stood. The foundation of the faith followed by more than 2 billion people all around the globe that began with the story of a miraculous birth in this little town of 25,000 people. In fact, right below there, where that crowd is gathered, that's the very cave where tradition tells us Jesus was born.
So here we are in the oldest church in the world, birthplace of Jesus. You know that Jesus was born in Bethlehem, right?
A town shadowed by the controversial wall that blocks it off from the rest of the world. Yet in thy dark streets shineth the everlasting light, as the song tells us. Like millions of faithful before us, we are making the religious pilgrimage of a lifetime, and we're bringing you along on this episode of Window Seat.
I'm going to skip ahead to show you a better view of the inside of the cave here.
Accurate. Nobody welcomed Virgin Mary in his home.
This, according to tradition, is the entrance to that stable, the manger where Jesus was born. A traffic jam of pilgrims forms at the entrance inside the Church of the Nativity, with each Christian in the crowd eager to see this silver star. They tell us this right here is the very spot where Jesus was born. It is one of the most meaningful places in the Christian faith, and Christians by the thousands do make a pilgrimage here every year. Yet in the very birthplace of their Lord and Savior, there are surprisingly few Christians. In 1950, nearly 90% of Bethlehem's residents were Christian, but today, just about 12% are. In the back room of a local store, we found one of the few Christians left here. Appropriately, he's a woodworker, like Jesus himself. He says Christians from the rest of the world need to support the very few who still call this place home.
In here, in the Middle East, and here in the land of Jesus, no Christian, this is very dangerous and very sad.
That woodworker leaves us with a souvenir of our visit and with a lasting impression of a faith that's very much alive throughout the rest of the world, but seemingly dying in the place it was born.
You know that Jesus.
A town shadowed by the
It's enough. I don't want to go on too much more, but they gave you a little bit of an image of the cave, which is about as big as this room, wouldn't you say, Vicky? But it's split into about three rooms, and they're all covered by murals and gaudy gold chandeliers. And in one side, they say they think that's where the manger was, and another side where the actual Jesus was born, but I don't know how they can tell where they think each of those things were. But it's interesting how they are pretty sure that from the very beginning, the cave was there. Who else has been there? Anybody else? Oh, quite a few people in class here. Yes. Okay.
You
Yes.
might mention that. I don't know if anybody else was
Would you
there.
ask for the microphone, please, Jeff? Okay.
I don't know how many of you were there before the wall went up. Yeah, we were there before and after. And so it was quite a difference between before the wall came up and then when the wall was put up. Quite a difference.
In what regard? And
When
what,
did we go first?
1999 first and then 2012.
in what regard was it different?
Well, it's separated, you know, there's just a wall
Oh.
all the way through, you know, and places that we would have been able to go into freely. You couldn't without, someone coming on your bus and searching, you know, going through armed guards coming on the bus and going through and searching. You know, it was very different.
Very good. Okay, I want to read to you a few little things from a book called The Journey, meaning Mary and Joseph's Journey to Bethlehem by the Reverend Adam Hamilton. Just some things we don't normally hear or think about. That Mary's house was in Nazareth, of course, and it was also a cave or a grotto. Maybe some of you have been to that one too. And there were naturally occurring caves all throughout the Holy Land. The soft limestone is easily hewn to expand out of the area to make caves for living and for animal storage. People used their homes for caves for storage, shelter of animals, and sometimes they were just the basement of a home. Some were built above ground out of stone, and then caves were underneath. So it depended on what exactly the families had. And the cave that was Mary's home also had stairs leading from the cave up to an upper level. So there were all kinds of different formats for caves at that time. Mary was also, being from Nazareth, was a town of servants. And they were believed to be 200 people in the town at that time. And they were mainly servants and trades workers who were working in Sepphoris, a much bigger city that was just a few miles away. People in Nazareth probably mopped floors, helped build the villas in the much bigger town of Sepphoris, which was also a center for Roman officials. And that it's thought that Jesus probably worked there with Joseph also. Mary was, now, this author says, Mary was likely a girl of about 13, but a more mature 13-year-old than we might expect. Young women married at that age in the ancient Near East. At the time, with the average life expectancy of 35 years, most people did not go to school, and girls were considered women when they had their first menstrual period and typically married shortly thereafter. And I think Mark said today that she might have been up to 19. But, yes.
I told him that's the oldest I've ever heard.
The oldest you've ever heard. Yes. And Mary and Joseph would have had a year-long engagement normally. after which they would be married and consummate the marriage and begin having children. And every year after that, it was expected that the woman would have another child. Women hoped and prayed they might survive these births one after another over the course of their childbearing years.
I'm exhausted thinking of that.
In fact, she's exhausted just thinking of that, right? Adam in his book here talks about also the arrival of Gabriel giving the message to Mary and saying that it was not probably in any form except a man visiting Mary's home and giving her that message, and an angel taking the form of just another man. And Adam asked here, do you take the time to pay attention to what's happening around you and the possibility that God's angels come and speak to you in the form of humans delivering a message? God speaks through scripture, through the still small voice of the Holy Spirit, but it also speaks through people and occasionally heavenly messengers. So pay attention, listen, lest you might miss out on important messages God has for you. Okay. Any other thoughts? Anybody had a feeling like that you've ever been visited by an angel, a special person? Not directly? Okay.
I've not had an angel, but I have heard God. Does that make sense?
In what way, Alice? Tell us a little more.
Heard him.
Microphone, please. Jeff, if you grab it. Sure. If you're comfortable telling us.
Forgive Ron, he knows not what he did.
You were speaking there, Ron?
We have
Right.
we have a son who went through some addiction and difficult times, difficult problems. And I was sitting in church one morning and I heard God say to me, I have given you back your son. You know, this has it's been about 15 years ago or so, and I will never forget that. And I looked around and I thought, oh,
There's a clear voice.
it was so. There've been a couple other things through my life, but you have to be in tune and be willing, have an open spirit. You can block it. Yeah.
Alice, clarify, giving back, was there a suicide or something attempted? When God is saying giving you back? Unpack.
As we almost lost Eric, okay, there were several times we thought he would die. But God had his hand on it, so.
Thank you for sharing that.
I just leaned over and said to Alice, when you were lamenting about all of the women having to have a child every year after they were born, I don't know how many of you read the book, The Red Tent? A very amazing book, and very eye-opening about how women, when they would have their periods or after, or when they were giving birth, they would go into this tent and they were considered unclean, so they had to be separated. But what went on in the tent between the women in the tent was amazing. That they ministered to each other, took care of each other, strengthened each other. And it was one of the most wonderful books I ever read. So yeah, it looked like from the outside that it was bad, but they were glad to get in that tent, you know?
Yeah. That does make sense. Well, how about dreams also? Joseph had the dream that woke up and said this was a message from God. Anybody had that similar experience? I am curious. Or do we just assume dreams are our own psyche jumbling things together? Or do you think God breaks through and ever delivers a message through a dream? Bill, microphone, please, if you can hand it over to Bill.
Well, this is not specific, I think, to, well, it probably is specific to God communicating with me, but a lot of times, I will look at some situation and I'm not like, oh, woe is me, and oh gosh, why is this happening to me? The world we live in and is and always has been such a crazy place in our own point of view. And now I realize it's really much better wherever you are politically or whatever now to say good can come out of this. Not necessarily it's going to go this way or this way, but if you recognize, don't say, why is this awful thing happening? Say, what, because the opposites can, what's going to come out eventually. And like when Christ was born, I think, the Roman Empire ruled the world. And I just realized recently, I used to always think, oh, those good old Romans. Everybody hated the Romans because the Romans would build their empire on conquering and killing everybody that could fight back. And so, so that's all I had to say. Sometimes an awful event, I'm not encouraging it, but and you can say, how can I make this a good event in my life that really
Bring good out of it.
makes a difference?
Yes, thank you, Bill. Okay, I want to offer our Zoomers a chance to share anything if they have a comment about if they've ever been visited by an angel or had a dream that you felt similar to Joseph's situation. If you do, jump in. We're glad to do that. Okay. Alrighty, I want to share with you some of the strangest Christmas traditions on earth and ask about your Christmas traditions also. So let me share screen here. And yes, Susie, go ahead while I'm doing that.
Did anybody watch that?
Yes.
Movie with Kevin Costner?
Yes.
So what did you think, Mary? What's it called?
What's it called? The First Christmas.
Tell us about
The
it.
First Christmas.
A
It was
document.
on last, this weeks ago.
Week before, but it's on demand, you can
I
get it.
liked it
Documentary.
because it gave the feeling that there might have been family there. And that they helped her and helped.
They would, the way they showed it, they went to his relatives or whatever. And they took them in and there was like 1 million people all there because everybody was there. And then then they took her down in a cave, just the women, to have the baby. So
Okay.
it showed a different, that she wasn't there all by herself.
Yeah, that made me feel.
Yeah, I like that part. And then when they went to wherever they were going, they all went in groups. You didn't just like take off on your mule and walk away. So they kind of all went in groups and, that was interesting too. I thought it was fairly low budget. Didn't you, Mary?
Documentary, okay.
Well, what I didn't like was Mary and Joseph had English accent. Which was very strange, and I think Joseph was there about 10, and he had pimples all over his face.
Oh, okay.
So, but the premise of the story, I thought was stuff we didn't know, and I thought it was that part.
Thank you. We'll look for that.
Demand? Yes, sir. Okay.
Because it was just on last night on it's on regular TV.
Okay.
Regular TV.
Yeah.
It was called The First Christmas,
Yeah, and it was.
narrated by Kevin Costner.
It was like finances himself.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. It was.
Thank you.
Some of that right there you didn't know, and you felt better that you had other people. and-
It was all much Hollywood.
Okay,
No, no, for
Okay.
sure.
very good. Thank you for sharing about that. Okay. I want to just share with you some of the strangest Christmas traditions on earth. Okay, this one is called the Yule Lads of Iceland. Icelandic kids don't get just one Christmas Santa Claus, they get 13 trolls roaming the country in the fortnight before Christmas. Like Snow White's 7 dwarves, each of these has their own personality. There's the sniffer, the licker, the swiper, the healer, the gobbler. So don't know how that came about in Iceland, but
Steve, before you go on that.
yes, sir.
Steve, before you go on the Icelandic, based on my trips to Iceland, I picked up on that very tradition while I was there on the Yule lads.
You did.
And now I brought it back to our family. And every Christmas, we talk about the Yule lads of Iceland.
Oh, very good. Thank
Yeah,
you for sharing.
strange characters and they're very fun.
They look like strange characters. His faces are scary, kind of tutu. Okay. Yes, this is some kind of strange about a pooping log in Catalonia. For some inexplicable reasons, Catalans, this is in Spain, I think probably, is observe traditions that put a smile on everyone's faces. Something to do with, yes, going to the restroom. And it's called the pooping log, which has a small stick with a grin on its face and lives on the dinner table in December. So it's supposed to be a funny joke that they put on the table. Okay. This one's in Wales, looks like a horse's head that they have. And yes, and this says Welsh culture is ancient and steeped in tradition. They enjoy parading an undead horse around their villages to celebrate the happiest time of year. This involved draping a white sheet over a pole with a horse's skull and marching it around while they enjoy food or drink. So that is a very strange. Oh, here's my favorite, Kentucky Fried Christmas in Japan. For some reason, the Japanese love Kentucky Fried Chicken at Christmas time. Introducing Christmas marketing triumph with Santa Claus, and Christmas wasn't a huge deal in Japan until KFC ad campaign in the 1970s established the tradition of families getting buckets of fried chicken on December 25th. This holiday themed chicken has become so popular that restaurant reservations are hard to come by, and orders are placed months in advance. Who would have thought?
Women didn't want to do it.
They didn't want to cook, so let's go to KFC, yeah. That's good.
Is it China? Is that where it is?
Japan.
Oh, Japan.
Japan.
Uh-huh. Yep,
You see Colonel Santa.
Colonel Sanders Santa. Very strange. To us, it would seem strange. Austria. The threat of missing out causes Austrian kids to end up with Santa's naughty list. They also have to worry about Krampus, a horned, hairy beast that snatches misbehaving children, serving as Saint Nicholas's creepy enforcer. Many towns in Austria have dozens of men dressed in this demon parade that goes through the streets brandishing sticks and terrorizing children. That is
the country
very,
where Silent Night was written.
that's right. Silent Night written there. Italy, okay, and I'll stop after this one. Italy, Italian Christmas is celebrated with wine drinking witch. And 12 days after Santa's visit on the eve of Epiphany, families across Italy leave out a glass of vino and a plate of sausages. And then these characters pop down the chimney and eat those things.
Yeah.
According to folklore, the old lady knocked back an invitation from 3 wise men to witness the birth of Christ. She spends every Christmas gliding around the country searching for blessed children.
On her broom.
On her broom. See her on the right side there on the broom? Okay.
Web one. The
No,
one
it's
you-
spider web. We wanted to see
Oh.
the next one.
Okay. Hang on, let me go back, see if I can find it.
It's right,
Yeah.
it's the next
Love
one.
it.
Okay, hang on just a second. Let me hit the share here. Okay, spider webs in Ukraine. Oh, Ukraine. Yes, we want to know about that. Ukrainians take a different approach to Christmas decorations, swapping fairy lights for spider webs. The legend of the Christmas spider explains that a poor widow and her kids once cultivated a Christmas tree from a pine cone, but they couldn't afford decorations. So on Christmas morning, they woke up to see their tree blanketed in cobwebs, which sunlight then transformed into gold and silver. Nowadays, trees across Ukraine are decorated with little spider ornaments called pavichi and fake spider webs, which are said to be the origin of the sparkly tinsel that shimmers in Christmas time around the world. Oh, didn't know that.
Radish carving, that's.
I do what my wife tells me, and I'll keep going. Radish carvings in Mexico. Oh, that's another scary. Yeah. Oh, that looks like the weird creature. Each year in the Mexican city of Oaxaca, the days before Christmas mark with an event known as the Night of the Radishes. Sadly, it's not a low-budget horror movie. Instead, it's a vegetable carving competition. Participants get remarkably creative with everything from nativity scenes to monsters on display as thousands of visitors descend upon the city to witness the fun. The radishes in question are grown specifically and pumped up with chemicals to grow immense. And the carvings are only displayed for a few hours before the fragile vegetables wither away. And then they get eaten. That is very bizarre. I can't take any more of those. Very strange. Sure, I'll send that if you'd like to see some of those weird things. Okay, anybody heard of those before or enjoy those? Anybody?
Steve. We have a neighbor who is German, and I love it that she shares her traditions with me. There's an Easter one that she has shared with me before, but the other day she came over and she brought me a wooden carving of a postman, actually, and it's an old piece that she got. I probably at I'm not sure where she got it, but it was old. And it is a carving of a postman, and he's got his bags over his shoulder. And if you open up the bottom of him, you can put a little cone of incense and then put that back on after you've lit it, and his mouth is open, so smoke comes out of his mouth. But the tradition was that back in the day, they, in order, it was hard to find jobs, and so a lot of men became wood carvers, and they sold the carvings in order to be able to feed their families. But I just love it when she comes over and shares and brings me stuff like that. So I've got a lot of German culture around just because of her, but her stories are amazing of the things that they do.
Hey, very good. Well, I know we have traditions too, and I see my next door neighbor Doug on Zoom, and I'm gonna ask Doug to tell us about the hiding of the pickle, the Christmas pickle. Doug, are you comfortable telling us about that for a second?
Sure. And this has been something that Steph's mother and father introduced to us many years ago. And the actual history is that the pickle is to be hidden on the Christmas tree. And then he who finds it first then is awarded with something. And in our family, what we do is I have, 2 daughters and 2 grandsons, and I put a picture of something Christmas on each of the pickles, and then I hide them. And I don't hide them just any place. I do a specific room because I've gotten quite masterful in being able to hide these things. And associated with each pickle, there is an envelope that has that same picture. And what I do is I put some cash in each of those envelopes. And so on Christmas, we get to the point and the adults are wanting to hurry up and do it earlier each time they come over for the Christmas celebration. It's not a significant amount of money, but it's the effort they have to put into to find these pickles. And then after all of them are found, and there are times it may take 20 minutes for them to find the last pickle. Now, no one shares in the discovery of finding the last pickle. That's left up to the individual that has not found the pickle. And then there's an opportunity for them to barter, meaning to exchange the envelopes. Out of doing this for 25 years, no one has ever exchanged the envelopes. It's their possession. They're going to keep whatever is left in that. And it becomes quite a funny thing. And now my grandchildren want to participate, but we're going to put an age as to when they get to participate.
Good. Oh, thank you for sharing. Is that kind of like Elf on a Shelf? Not really. But isn't it, don't kids look for an elf on the shelf?
Yeah.
Young children?
Its way, I think, I don't think kids are.
For sale anymore.
There's also something about a pink pig. A pink peppermint pig. Does anybody know that?
Pink peppermint pig tradition, or hide the pig.
There's a little shell with it.
And there's something hidden in the.
I'm not
Here, would
sure.
you like to share anything about traditions across the cultures that you've studied as a traveling anthropologist?
No, I made my point this morning about
Okay.
supporting our Jewish colleagues.
Okay.
That's the point I want to make today.
There's just such varied things. Yes. Yes, sir. Go ahead. You use the microphone if it's there. Would you ever pass it over to him?
When my wife and I were teaching overseas,
Hmm.
we learned, well, learned very clearly the tradition of a bamboo cannon at Christmas.
Bamboo cannon?
This is also practiced in the Philippines and other places in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
You get a piece of bamboo that's maybe 3 inches in diameter, 6 feet long, knock out all but the end partition, and you put kerosene in it, and the little hole near the bottom, and you put things in it to make the kerosene warm and evaporate, and then you light it, and it goes boom, and you blow in the hole, and you light it, and it goes boom again, and so you get serenaded to sleep every night with the bamboo cannon.
The booming cannon. Never heard of that one. Very good. Thank you.
Another favorite part of the dramas that are enacted during Christmas is the beheading of John the Baptist.
Oh, beheading of John the Baptist. That's a Christmas tradition. Okay. Where country is that from?
We were teaching at the Methodist High School in Samoa.
Samoa. Huh. Okay, so it's a way to remember John the Baptist, just a very odd way to remember him.
You have to understand that these were people, especially between Samoa and Tonga. The Tongan chief, Malietoa, would take 2 young people from villages each day to be cooked for his council.
Okay.
But this, there are traditions that go deep in their relationships, and why people in Tonga are not happy with people in Samoa and vice versa.
Sounds like it. Very good. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Vicky?
Pink peppermint pig.
Oh, she's go.
The pink peppermint pig, in Victorian culture, the pig represented good health, happiness, and prosperity. Inspired by this symbol, old-fashioned candy makers
in Saratoga started to create peppermint pigs each year during the holiday season. These sweet treats were made of hard peppermint candy, similar in taste and texture to a candy cane, and approximately colored and appropriately colored in a very festive pink. When families gathered together at Christmas for the holiday meal, the tradition was to break the peppermint pig using a small miniature hammer, and all family members would then share in eating the sweet candy pieces, hoping for good fortune in the coming year.
Where was it primarily? Where was it?
That's a Victorian tradition, but they make them in Saratoga Springs, New York.
New York, okay. Becky had something to share, didn't you? Microphone, if the microphone's right there, please. That's okay.
My daughter-in-law's tradition with the pickle was to put it in the tree.
Mhm.
And so that was, I was excited to get one.
Oh,
And whoever found it got to open the first present.
Oh, find the pickle, open the first present. Very good.
Was there ever a time when they couldn't find something and it was an individual responsibility? What did he do then?
Doug, what happened when they couldn't find the pickle?
Oh, I would start giving encouragement and giving some direction because we were taking long enough that it was interfering with dinner.
Didn't let the search go on too long.
Not too long. That's right.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, I've got a question. Poinsettias. Anybody know where poinsettias come from? Mexico, right, Patty? This says that the legend began long ago in Mexico, where it was traditional to leave gifts for Jesus on a church altar on Christmas Eve. As the legend goes, a poor boy was sad because he had no gift to leave for the Savior. Upset by his poverty, the boy knelt outside a church window and prayed. In the spot where he knelt, a beautiful plant sprouted with vibrant red leaves. In Mexico, this plant is called the flower of the Holy Night. The first U.S. minister to Mexico was Joel Robert Poinsett, and it was named after him. He was so impressed by the flower of the Holy Night's beauty that he brought samples back to the United States in 1828, and the flower was renamed poinsettia in his honor. Now your story. Now you know the story. Okay.
They're a very poison plant too, to animals. I think.
Your dog eat it.
Yeah, you don't want your dog to eat it, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, you might know the history of mistletoe. Well, go ahead first, Patty.
Oh, I was gonna go back to a different tradition, so.
That's okay, go ahead.
Well,
I'm just filling time and we have 5 minutes left here. Usually my.
like talking on these. It's really weird to me. So as I was raising my kids, I was really concerned about affluenza and their feeling that materialism and gifts were the most important thing. And I worked on that a lot while they were growing up. But I'm kind of shifting. Over COVID, I did a really intense study for myself on the religious thoughts of scientists during the 20th century. And I was overwhelmed by the sense of who is this power that brought forth the universe? The Big Bang. Who is this power that brought forth DNA on a planet that did not yet have life? And I put that together with Advent. And I thought, who is this baby anyway? That we are, to me, demeaning and diminishing in so many ways in our culture. And I thought, how can I have my kids who are now in their early 20s? I had my kids really late. And how do I bring attention or have them ponder the astonishing idea that the power that brought forth the universe and the trillions of billions of galaxies, I don't know, what we're learning from the Webb telescope and all these other things. How is this baby? How does it represent that power? And is it possible that that power really did want to become flesh and interact with human beings? And what does that mean? What does it mean on a day-to-day basis that, you know, as we look at the world right now, my kids, they're having a lot of mental health issues. I mean, not overtly, but I mean, they're really scared about what's the future of this planet. I'm really scared about the future of this planet. And I keep having to think about the religious thoughts of scientists during the 20th century, physicists and doctors and researchers who are themselves astonished at how it all came to be. And if the Word was God and the Word was with God and the Word became flesh, what does that mean? And so I'm building a whole bunch of traditions around that. And I got these little boxes with mystery. And I heard this wonderful thing. A second grade teacher did this. She wrapped up a present with a bunch of things in it. And she said to her second graders, what do you think is in it? And they passed it around and around and around. And they could all shake it. And they all guessed. And at the end, she said, well, that's the mystery. And they said, well, open it up. What is it? And she said, no, we're not going to open it. And she wrapped it up and sealed it tight and said, this is a mystery and you're going to have to live with not knowing.
Oh, live with the mystery.
Live with the mystery. So that's the new tradition.
That's good.
And so that, and then I'm trying to build from that some more ideas about who is this baby anyway. So,
Getting away from such a focus on giving gifts.
yes, and some of the traditions really help. And I think some of the traditions are very distracting from what is the point of Christmas anyway.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Pass it back to Bill. Okay, just a couple minutes left here. Yes, we could talk for another hour about the concerns about commercialism at Christmas and how that overshadows the other message. Yes, Bill.
The thing that strikes me, we're talking about all different customs, you know, most of them very weird to the people who are not part of that culture, et cetera, et cetera. What strikes me is two things. One is life on Earth, and either now or in very ancient times, was very hard, dull. You know, you had to every day do your job, and it was probably very hard and not that rewarding. So I think all the traditions in some way came out of let's make some time of the year really exciting and interesting. Yeah. The rest of the year is pretty boring. So that's one thing. The other thing that I think with all of the different customs and curses and blessings and is that life can really be brutal and often what it is. And it's a way of keeps going out. It's a way of giving yourself a chance at good fortune, you know, because a lot of this is if you do this, you're gonna have good fortune or you're gonna and so it's a way of I think of human beings figuring out let's make life a little more interesting or worth living, you know, at certain times, and also a way of saying that's a little part of control over what my fate's going to be.
Yes. Okay, very good. Any final thoughts? Well, thank you. It was fun to take a look at that and hear about your traditions. Next week, no class. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Merry Christmas.
Coffee with us. Merry Christmas. Thank you, God, for all your blessings to us. Amen.
Bye, Susan.
Bye.